the announcement by President Trump was spread like wildfire. I'm in Mumbai at the moment, where a lot of Aussies, including the Motion Picture Association from Australia, are here. And it's the world's biggest trade and film conference. And everyone is taken aback, but not surprised by the announcement. Equally, everyone is scratching their head in terms of execution of this intended tariff, whether it's Australia or Asia or Europe, where a lot of American films go. So it's huge. But I think the key is, how will this tariff be executed? How will it be applied? And usually the devil is in the detail, but I think here the devil is in the execution.
Yeah, so is the case that there's probably hundreds of millions of dollars worth of US production in Australia each year, and is that all that production likely to go back to the US if this tariff comes into effect?
I don't think so. I think, all these productions, which are hundreds of millions, they are actually American films. So again, the devil is in the detail. How would they define an overseas film or production overseas? As Matt Diener, the head of SPA, recently said, it could be catastrophic. But again, what is the detail? I mean, most of these films, the IPs are owned by Americans, the stories are written in America, the stars are American. And so how is the American government going to decide how to define an overseas, production? Let's not forget the technological thing. More than 20% of production roles are now going to artificial intelligence. How is America going to define where the AI is coming from, whether it's from a studio in India or one of the firms out of Australia or England? So I think we are all scratching our head. And as one of my colleagues I read this morning, Kingston Anderson, said, I think it's a nice opportunity for us in Australia to start looking at those streamer quotas for local content. Just looking at the positive side of these things. Maybe it'll force us in Australia to look at non-traditional and emerging markets like India or China or North Africa, for that matter.
And so what tax breaks have been offered by Australia to get that industry here?
Well, the tax breaks by Australia have been huge. I think Australia has led not only in terms of its tax break, but the quality of crew, whether it's the location offset, whether it's the PDB. Let us not forget how Australia offers the co-production treaty partners like UK or recently India and other partners, producer offset for Australian spend. They've been huge. I was reading a Pro Research report where America's local production is down by 24%, whereas Australia, New Zealand, and UK have had increased production spend from American films. Now, the key here is that they are all American films. So who and how are we going to decide what is an overseas American film and what's an American film?
And as an Australian filmmaker, how have you felt about that strategy to lure the Americans here?
I think it's been a great strategy. It has kept our industry growing. It has kept our crew growing. And most importantly, it has promoted Australia and its images throughout the world, whether it's by Hollywood films or Bollywood films. I think attracting foreign crews, especially American crews, to Australia has been a trump card for our tourism, for our export. And as an Australian filmmaker who travels all around the world, including Cannes, which begins in a couple of weeks' time. It has always been a trump card up our sleeve to say that we are from Australia, where you have a very rich spectrum of grants and subsidies and producers offset. But having said all that, Joe, I am kind of, taking a bit of a chill pill. And a lot of us international delegates here in Mumbai at Waves are chuckling a bit, because while it has spread like wildfire and there's a lot of scare kind of causing it, we are chuckling because we're just curious how someone would physically execute this policy. So I think the next few weeks or few days are going to be interesting to see how things are defined, how this tariff is going to, going to be placed, how it will work with the nitty-gritties. But as I said, we are not surprised whether you're Australian or any other filmmaker. When President Trump came to power, he appointed, Sylvester Stallone and Jon Voight and others to ensure that America and Hollywood are promoted around the world, which they are. At the moment, America is a key part of the global entertainment and film scene.